That's when I had already trained her. So now she had her part. She already knew how to do the uploads. My father had the lawn equipment. My uncle also ran lawn equipment. My father already had some lawn equipment in Florida. They were doing grass cuts. And my nephew, Trey, was already in the house with us. He was going to school. And so it made a perfect opportunity because I was able now in the opportunity to pick up those contracts. And I told my father, I said, why don't we work together in this? And we were generating over $10,000 a month as
Mhm.
a group doing that. And so I'm going to pause there. Diamond, do you have anything to add to that? Something I might have missed that
Yeah.
maybe you feel like it need to be highlighted?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you because this is always something that people are really interested in, is the field inspections. And so I wanted you to explain to the people what field inspections are and what those grass cuts are too. Like, if you
I
could talk
want
a little
you
bit
to explain what field inspections are because this is how it all tied in.
Yes.
The interesting, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Mhm.
Now, the interesting part, Diamond in that cusp, because what you were about 16 and then you got your license, right?
Mhm.
What cusp was that? How long was you doing? Because you might remember more. Um, how long was you doing the inspections, the uploads for me? I know I started in 2012. 2012.
It
You
was probably a
graduated
year or two.
about a year or two, and then you got your license. So we know it had to be before that. So
Mhm.
in that cusp of that, she got her license. And so what I was able to do was pick up more inspection work because she got her license and because I was making this extra money for her birthday, I bought her a car.
Mhm.
So I was able to surprise her. And this is being a single mother, a single parent. I never got child support. I'm not going to go on that tangent, but I'm just letting you know it wasn't my family was a support. I don't want to, because a lot of people say I was a single parent, but you're getting support. I got support from my family, but not the other parent. So I want to be clear. So I was able, with her help, to actually get her a car for her 17th birthday. And then in turn, she started doing inspections with me.
Mhm.
So I was able to get more work and actually pay her. The whole and because she knew how to do the uploads, all I had to do is train her how to go out and do the inspection. And the company was so elated that they cleared her and they gave her her own queue off of my queue. And we had a whole business together. And then I started letting them know my nephew even came on because one thing about the grass cuts, like the season, if you know, we were in Jersey, the season is not all year long. If you're a person in Florida, Louisiana, Texas, you might have more of a cutting season because, especially in Florida, they need cuts often. It's a
Mhm.
window of time in colder regions. So, in that window of time, when the grass cut season wasn't there, my nephew would either come in and help do the inspections, and he was getting paid. So we set it up as a system that everybody got paid as just working together, just like snowballing, working together. So I'm going to let you explain to them what inspections are, field inspections.
Yeah, so and to be clear, that was something that we were doing 10 years ago or to 10 plus years ago. And it's an industry that I am currently in on the side here too. And we've done that cross states. So we started in New Jersey and now I'm in Texas now doing that same, working in that same industry. So to explain to you guys what field inspections are, because it's an industry that you guys could also get into without having that experience as well, depending on the companies that you end up working with. Currently, what I would do, I work with residential and commercial with two different companies at this current time. And so the field inspections that I do right now are with a third party company. And what they do is they work with insurance companies, home insurance companies. So some of them are like Texas Farm Bureau, Geico, Progressive, some of your normal, what you would have for your homeowner's insurance. And they send you out to they'll give you a queue of different homes for you to visit. You'll have like, I have a little badge, I have some door hangers, all this other stuff like that. And you basically go knock on the door, talk to the homeowner, and just say, hey, I'm here from X Geico, or I'm a representative of Geico to do a quick exterior inspection. Is that okay? Or can you give me access to the back? And so most of the homeowners are well aware that this is something that's supposed to happen when they sign their policy. So you never really have too much trouble. And all you're doing is taking photographs of the home as like an exterior condition check. So that means you're going to take a picture of the front, the left side, the right side, and then the back of the house if you have access to it, and then also the roof picture. And what the insurance company wants to see is if there are any hazards. They're really into knowing the roof life and the condition of the roof home. And so I have a tripod selfie stick. I was going to see if I had it next to me so I could show y'all. But and all you do, click, 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 you just take a picture of the roof, and then you go home and then you upload that report. And so you answer a couple questions like, were you able to contact the owner of the home? What kind of home was it? What is the roof type? Things of that nature. And then you click upload and you go on to the next one. And so that's on the residential side. And when we were doing that in Jersey, right, Mom, we were doing more of occupancy checks, which were a little bit
Yeah,
easier,
with
right?
the mortgage
With
inside.
the
So I
mortgage.
want you guys to think about it like this. We all familiar with a car, right?
Mhm.
So a car is a vehicle, and if you need a car repair, you have different categories, right? And so if you had an accident, you would need a body shop, right? You wouldn't go to a auto repair shop. They more or less focus on the internal. If you have a problem with that car with your tires, you go to a tire shop, and they specialize in tires and rims. And so the field inspection industry is sort of the same way. The overview, it is an industry where you're the eyes and ears for a company. So it's
Yeah.
going to be either in the mortgage and banking companies, like so for the mortgage industry, you're going to have the insurance industry, and then you have particular lenders that you may be going out for, such as equipment. So the mortgage industry, if people are behind on their mortgages, file for bankruptcy, the occupancy checks, a lot of times when people fall behind and start to go in that foreclosure process, they get scared and leave the home. And what happens is the bank intend to resell that home so they can actually collect on the outstanding mortgage that's owed. So they need to try to preserve that property as much as possible. I just saw in the northeast of New Jersey, and even all around, it's been colder seasons. But in a New Jersey, if a home is actually abandoned, you have colder weather, so you need to get the water out of those pipes, because you'll have the pipes cracked if it's not winterized. So they want to be alerted as soon as possible.
Mhm.
And this is where that rollover with the property preservation is going to mostly be in the mortgage industry. And so when you alert that this property on the mortgage side, they send out a property preservation person to come and change the locks, winterize. Sometimes they want to make sure, of course, that the electricity is on, because they don't run the heat, but you need to have that sub pump on, because in New Jersey, the Northeast, you have basements. You don't tend to have that in the South. And what happens is if that basement flood, you can get a lot of water damage, mold, a lot of things can happen, even mess up hot water tank and also the furnace. So they want to try to be able to resell this in the best condition as possible. So that's that industry. And those industries go hand in hand. And
Mhm.
so that's where we learned and fell into that property preservation, because I was doing those types of inspections because I was doing this full time. And that side tend to have a larger volume of
Mhm.
inspections. And so because I was doing that, that's how I came into that industry. And where grass cuts are important, they have to maintain the property as that property goes through the foreclosure process. Because if they don't, the township then start to fine the place. They'll start to have fines. You like, we would also do with storms, you can also do snow removal. Think about that. The property preservation need to go out there and clear the sidewalks and throw down salt, because God forbid if somebody fall, because the mortgage company is responsible for that property because that homeowner went away. And so with that, that industry is tied in there. When you have what Diamond is doing, it is for the insurance industry. And
Mhm.
so a lot of you guys already know, if you're a homeowner, you'll have your insurance agent. I used to be a producer, insurance producer, insurance agent, and we would call them and let them know somebody would come out there and take pictures of the property. These inspections are all in all 50 states. And so if you own a home, that's being done, okay, on your home. Every renewal, they come in. They might not always need to come in the property and take pictures, but the outside.
Mhm.
Now, generally, if you're in the Northeast and you might have a 3-family home, or maybe a 4-family home, or you might even own a 6-family property, those they most likely going to want to come in to take pictures. So you set appointments. In that industry, you also get restaurant inspections to do for restaurants, and you inspect the fire equipment, workman's comp inspections. And so you do various types. You might have factories and things. So that industry she's in pays a lot higher because it's not a generic type of simple form, where the mortgage inspections, you can do those in like 5 minutes. You can just get them done. But with that end, I think the most I have gotten paid to do an insurance inspection, y'all might have heard me say that, was like $600. But that was because I had to do a campground, and some of that, they have sketching equipment. It is not really that intimidating once you know it, but you just have to take, with this will, you have to take measurements and
Mhm.
make sure you take the pictures that they're requiring for you to ask and I mean, to take. And it's going to be very clear what they want. And then you also have like for lenders, right? So if you guys,
To interject because I don't want to.
oh no, no, I'm just giving them the overview. Just
I don't want to information overload them.
no,
You
I'm
know what
so,
I'm saying?
well, let me land here. Just
Yeah.
like, because that would be the last one. For lenders, if you have a car and
Mhm.
y'all might have fell behind on your car payment, if you got a note on the door, then they have a category for that. That's field chase, and also inspection for dump trucks or heavy equipment. That's just lenders that want to know the condition of that property. So, I mean, of that piece of equipment, especially if it's a very expensive piece of equipment. So those are the kind of 3 main industries. So I'll land there.
Yeah, no, no, that was good. I didn't want to information overload
Overload, yeah.
them. You know what I'm saying? Before, because we could talk more about field inspections. I know someone was asking what we're discussing for tonight, and what we're discussing is different methods for you to work collaboratively with the people in your sphere, the people in your community, your friends, your family, to get out of debt. So probably the thing that y'all want to know is how much does it pay, right? And in certain industries. It can be from, if you're doing something like the occupancy ones that my mom was talking about, you're going to go from like what, $5 to $10 a house. And then for the insurance, it's been about $10 to $20 a house. For commercials, you might be somewhere around $60 to $100 per commercial inspection. So that's something that you could be doing either full-time, part-time. And people were asking, where can they actually find companies to apply?
And I'm going to say too, with the mortgage industry, a lot of times if you're doing lost draft, that's over there, depending on the company, I think like $75 for that inspection.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the type of inspections that you can do. One thing is going to be on your need and your objective on your life. I did all industries because I was doing for a full-time job. If you don't have that time and you want to do a part-time, you need to kind of pick an industry, to be honest with you guys, because the ones that's with the mortgage, you have to do it in daylight. Like, so this time of year, if you're like, hey, I go to work in the daytime and I could do that, no, is not, you probably won't be able to make it. Summertime, it's possible because you have more daylight. So you want to figure out more or less what Diamond is doing, where you can set appointments. That might be a better thing part-time. And it also depends. If you're a person that work night shift, hey, that might not be bad. You could probably swing it. But yeah.
Yeah. And then you also have a lot of the time somewhere between a week to 2 weeks to do these inspections, unless they have an urgency and they're like, hey, could you get this done for us? So it's something that you could really be
No, we got to be clear. That's on your insurance
on the
side.
insurance, on the insurance side.
So that's another big part. I'm glad you brought that up. Time limit on the mortgage side. No, you are weeks, 7 days, if you're lucky. That's so 7 days there, but they're going to probably have a closer one. But I can tell you the difference between the mortgage industry and her industry, you're going to have the same properties. So once you get it, because that home is going through foreclosure, once you get your numbers, you can pretty much know how much money you're making monthly, because you're going to go back to that property 2 times in a month. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's a lot of people that, it's more dependable, like where you know how much you're going to make. You just got to know once you get it, it's pretty much, sometimes new ones come in, but you're going to pretty much know that address and how to go there. The important part in that industry is routing. You want to make sure when you go out, you're hitting the closest, house that you can. You don't want to, off the top of your head, just try to wing it. In her industry, you're not going to see the same inspection over and over again. If so, maybe once a year if you really working for a company, but you're most likely, and keep in mind, people do change insurers. You don't keep the same car insurance all the time. So they might change it, so you might not see the same thing. So you're going to have more volume of inspections on the mortgage side. You can have way more volume. The insurance side, you definitely need to work with multiple companies in order to get that volume going.
So for, if you could give an estimate, let's say on the mortgage side, how much would you say that someone could earn per month doing that part-time? If you could give a part-time number and a full-time number.
I'm going to say part-time, like easy. And I'm going to go off of somebody who I knew was doing it part-time, probably an extra $2,500 a month. You can get that going, but it depends on your schedule. That person was like doing 20 hours a week. So I'm going to say like 20 hours, and you can't judge it in hours. Like that's the thing too. And so if y'all need more questions, it is a strategy to it. So you're going to get paid more in that mortgage. If you're in a rural area, you're going to get paid higher, but the time to get to the next inspection is going to take you longer. So sometimes if you're a person and you're in city areas, you might want to pick that, because I did like Newark, all my people in Jersey, I would on this street, I might have 10 inspections. Like what it was like six streets, them number streets, baby. It was like I got 10 here, next block 10. Boom. I done made 50, $100. It was crazy because you have more compact areas.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you just also have other challenges sometimes when you're working in cities. So that's more of the challenge. One of them is school. Oh, the school bus, the school where you don't want to go too early and you don't want to get hit, because that can slow you down. So you'll dictate your time, because just imagine the schools letting out, it could be hectic. So you want to strategize in that so you can get as many in as possible.
Yeah. So, and then that leads into the grass cuts. So then can you talk about going into the grass cuts without like, giving too much information about, but like an overall view of how much we were making, the type of equipment that is needed, and like the barriers to entry on that level?
It's very low barrier of entry. Now with the grass cuts, going with the same strategy too, they different companies pay differently. Some companies had a large volume of grass cuts, and they may pay you $25 based on that grass cuts, and with the clippings they might pay you an extra um like bag for per bag, $3 to $5. So I mean, the hustle there is you keep some bags on your trunk and just throw them in and put them in the picture. You can run it up. Like, oh, this how many clippings I got. You keep the bags with you and you throw them on there and you can run it up. So that's one strategy. Some of them pay high. They will pay, some of them would pay on the lot size. You get what I'm saying? So they will pay on how big the lawn is. Now, if you are dealing in areas with bigger lawns and they pay more, you're going to need more professional equipment to get the numbers going that you want. If you're doing small city areas, I'm going to use like Newark, once again, Newark, New Jersey. Those little properties are small. You can really, I have seen people with a Honda, baby, a Honda and a push mower, and you can bang them out. You can go and that's all you need, and some gas. So you can actually do that. You just want to be wise on how you're starting, and you flip out. So what we're talking about with credit, one of our things, my father got additional equipment and from Lowe's, where he was able, zero interest, to get, zero turns equipment, and also a trailer. And by the time the grass season was over, the account was paid for. You get what I'm saying? So that was him leveraging his credit. He had his truck already. So I didn't have those things, but what I did, I got the work. And for every grass cut they did out of it, I would take a simple $5. $5. And out of my money, I would pay Diamond, because she was doing the part I was more in control of making sure the work was done, dealing with the contractors, and then the rest I would pay the crew and make sure it was done. So one of the main parts I want you guys to understand how you make it work with family, because we're all in business, don't mean we all get paid the same. You have to be rational. Yeah, people might say, well, you got the work, you were the thing. And I would say we were the 18. I was Hannibal. Yeah, a lot of times I might line up stuff. My father, we all call him in the family face. He's the friendly guy. If you're going in to smoosh somebody, you would not send me in. He's the one, he's the face. Okay. So he would pick up business because he's just a talker and he's friendly. Okay. And people will just give him something because he just liked to talk. That was his thing. My nephew Trey, he would be like Mr. T. He was the Bronx. He was the Bronx. So of the operation, one thing we would say about Trey, my father liked to see everything manicured. He really loves cutting lawns. That's always been his thing. And I like to make the neighborhood look good. And the people loved him for that because the neighbors was like, this house was looking like trash, make a buy house. They loved him. And he would pick up more business, local private business. So we made more money because he was doing such a good service, but it's not time efficient. That part of it of more cuts. So my nephew was more, he was younger. He run and we'd be like, why is he doing even with the inspections? Remember, he had to get out the car. And
Yeah, yeah.
he's just an energetic person.
Yeah.
And so he would just go and get what needed to be done while my father did the fine tuning. So, of course, my uncle, he was the steady part of that. He would just not talk a lot. He'd go and get it done. He was trying to get it done. But of course, if my father is the one with the truck, the equipment, he has to get the bulk of the pay. You get what I'm saying? He's maintaining the equipment, he's paying back the loan. And so a lot of times with the grass cuts, with them, they work 5 days a week. We made sure we scheduled that. And it's going to be about 20 cuts, 20 to 25 cuts in that week. And we were making like $11,000, $10,000 a month faithfully. That's what was coming in. But my point, I wasn't doing a lot. I was doing the management. So how would I get my lion's share? But $5 per the volume they were doing, I was making out Gucci, and I was able to continue on to do my inspections. So I had my money there. And so that's what I said. One thing about partnership, and that's where people get bad blood. You know what I'm saying? You have to, when you're working in a group setting, you have to be fair. You have to make sure if there's any new cost that comes in that you didn't see, you have to be fair to and be rational about what should we dictate out. So that's kind of my, part of it. And, to understand that and to make sure everybody is maybe not satisfied, because life is not always about a satisfaction, but what is just and fair. So that was the way we worked that together. And it was about like close to $90,000. Like the long cut season was not, like I said, in Jersey, started probably around April to about October. It was over. We made well over 80,000, 90,000 in a grass cut season. And that was just with the commercial contractors. And my father was picking up cuts on the side. You get what I'm saying, in those neighborhoods. So he was making it like well over 100,000, and he was done for you made that in a short season and be done. So that may be an opportunity for you guys too. If you have, you could pick up other work, property preservation. We tried that. Clean outs. We did a couple, made some good money, but you can take some losses because, my time, I wasn't able to be there for every clean out. And so that's another thing. Know your limitations. Sometimes you can't do everything. And we did, jump into that. It was lucrative, but the structure where I couldn't give up the inspections to do that, because the inspections was part of how they were getting to work, my relationship with that. So in order for property preservation, all that other stuff to be more lucrative, I would have to be more on hand, like hands on with it. And it wasn't possible. So that's another thing. Also know your limitation, because one thing about it, a lot of people, if you are running a business, you got to know that's your business. It's not a job. Like a lot of people have a bad attitude about it. It's a job. You know what I'm saying? It's not a job. It's your own business. So you have to think about your branding and your relationships with who you're working with.
That's good. I wanted to ask, well, just to put it in a general in a general terms, when we're talking about making money together, or if you're trying to figure out, well, okay, who is a good person that I should and people that I should not actually work with, right? And I guess if I could break it down from what we were talking about with the long cuts and everything else like that, you need someone that's a sourcer, right? So the person that actually goes out and finds opportunity, right? Which is you. You go out, you find the opportunities. You are the, I guess, more like the visionary, someone that's like, this is something that we could do. Let me go out, let me go get it. You need someone that is an organizer. So someone, let's say that was the position I was playing, creating the routes, the one to organize the situation, to have like more of an administrative role, right? Then you need someone who has the energy, and that was my cousin Trey, someone that got the energy to go out and go do. So they might not be the sourcer, they might not be the organizer, but they're the ones that like tell me what to do. I can go out and go do it. Then you need someone who like,
And he thought on his feet, because when the
yeah,
pictures wasn't right, he knew how to get the angles. Like, he more or less thought outside the box, and he cleaned up a lot of problems that my father being older, my uncle being older, that we would have had to tend with on the street. He's very quick witted. And he was like, hey, that's another thing. Certain area cities, you have dumping. And so that getting your shot, he like, hey, I moved it that way. I took my angles here, here, boom. So he also, he was able to kind of think outside the box in the moment. So
yeah,
that was his blessing too.
yeah, someone that's flexible and can get it done. You need a Mr. Get It Done, Mr. or Mrs. Get It Done. And then you need someone that's able to network, and like my grandfather, someone that's able to be pleasant and talk to people, right? So I want to ask y'all in the comment section, for those that are listening, who would, if you could identify some of these people, or do you have these types of people in your life? Do you have someone that's like the visionary? They see the opportunity, they bring the opportunity to people. Do you got someone that's good at organizing? Do you have someone that is the go-getter and like, I'm gonna get it done, we're gonna get it done, we're gonna get it done right, we're gonna get it done quick? So put that in the comment section below as well, just because when we're talking about working together, I think that's like a lot of the questions. Okay, but I don't have anybody to work with. But maybe you just need to identify the role, and you know what, this person's good at that. Maybe I should talk to them, and it doesn't always have to be, because I've seen someone mention like, my family wasn't like that, and I wish that my family was. But it doesn't have to just be family, but
Mhm.
people that you know. And if you don't know
And,
anybody, then you might need
and
to get out and know some
and
start.
let's give some other examples. I'll give you some other example. This person example was the family. It was a particular person. Her son was going to college, and they had to make payment obligations. They start cooking fish on Fridays. And I was doing the inspection. If you from Newark or whatever, I would buy my fish from Ambassadors. I was like, well, if y'all doing that, I'm gonna come over there on Friday and buy fish. They were able to make that tuition every week and give you a good meal on Friday by working together. One person cooked macaroni and cheese, this other one, and they were able to create good money. So it doesn't have to be here that only
Yeah.
this perspective. Another part was cleaning. Remember, we did cleaning with the property preservation. Maybe you guys, it don't take a lot to do a cleaning business. You
Mhm.
could go in and clean up and maintain. So, like she said, sometimes it's not your family. You might have really good friends. Or, as we've been saying, just like y'all tuning in here, put yourself in communities, go to meetups,
Mhm.
go to other business groups. You can find that network sometimes. So what they say, your network is your net worth. So I understand, like, people say, I don't have that type of human resource around me. Well, purposely put yourself in those places. And we commend you. Being here tonight, what we used to have in the business, it's a spark session. It might not be that you got to exactly do what we're saying, but it can be something else. My brother Mike on here, my sister-in-law business grew since they've been married, having her own shop or whatever. He's the part of the strategist, but she had the talent of braiding hair. And through that, from moving from out of her home to her own shop, part of that was them working together. So you get what I'm saying? So where life is easier, where the person who really got the skill set can focus on doing that skill set. The other person, it's been many a times he had to paint the shop, help with the location, do things, set up and do flooring and do that physical work. And so one thing, you might not could pick your family, but you pick your spouse. So you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you can't pick your family, but you can pick who you're dating. You could pick your partner. You know what I'm saying? So that might be another where you need to look at that. If you're dating life and you want to have more, you might need to look at somebody who have more unctions, or sometime they might be more of the level-headed person. You might be the go-getter, but if you got children or are going to have children in life, you might need that rock at home so you can go out and do that. So that's another way to think about it.
Very true. Someone said, I'm all about the hustle culture, but not everyone can share your same level of commitment and your passion. However, they are out there, but it takes time to cultivate like-minded people. And that's true. And so this is where you can get into, like we were talking about, the property preservation. You can get into that independently. And then I remember you met Manny and you met Michelle, and y'all were all in that industry together. Some friends and colleagues, and then they were able to, especially Manny was able to give you like the game a little bit more and put you on a more I don't even know how you met Manny, really.
Through Michelle. And that's the crazy part. Let's start there. Through Michelle, I was individually doing wholesaling. And that's how I met Michelle. And me and Michelle instantly hit it off. We met at a property. She was listening. I had a client that would wholesale, working by myself. And that's how me and her connected. And we was like, yo, we should be. And it was an instant type of connectivity and friendship. And she brought me that later on down the line. So sometimes it's not about who I find, just being active in something. You're going to find somebody. Now, some people say, I don't have a hustle culture. Okay, that's cool. Do you have the investment culture? Because one thing you could do, if you say, hey, and there's some people that say, hey, I don't have, well, how about group investment? How about family land? How about multifamily? So when I didn't have that other spouse, I had a job. I understood, let me get a real estate property where I can live in and rent out the other units. Sometimes if you can't get out and do that, you have investments. Maybe start thinking about group investments. Maybe it's something, if you go, and I say, you be careful. You have to know people. Great thing about family and friends, you pretty much know their resume. you know who you're dealing with. But it could be an investment that you're thinking about doing. That's a whole nother way of thinking about it. Some kind of investments. So all of that, it might not come overnight, but it does come from just thinking on what resources that you in particularly have.
Yes. So on that topic, because someone asked about the book, we do have, if you are interested, if the field inspection and property preservation topic piqued your interest, we do have a guide or a list of different companies that you can go ahead and start applying for, because someone mentioned that they were looking for some, and they were looking on Google, but they wanted to know if we had any companies that we recommended, and we do actually have a list of companies that we recommend. And there are opportunities in California as well. As someone just asked, does it have California involved in it too?
Yes, all 50 states and some of the U.S. territories also. Do you have a video that you dropped recently with that?
I have a video. I have a couple of videos that I dropped with it. I'm going to drop another
Drop it,
video.
and yeah, she's gonna drop that so y'all can
Yeah.
even get more visual on how that industry work.
Yes.
And like I said, like think about those two options. You might not, because some people, I don't have enough time in the day, but that's another part of working what we're talking about grouply. Then you ain't got to be there every time. I would give them the inspections, not saying that's the angle you have to go at, but would it cause me to work less? Because I would give her and my nephew inspections. I didn't have to go out. I would get a couple of a dollar for giving them the work, and or like a dollar or two, but I ain't go out. I had a value. They're doing it, and I just got the work and I got paid off of really much just being the plug, doing nothing. So that's another part. If you have the access for somebody else, you could be the one to get paid. There were many people who were doing the property preservation. They were doing what I was doing, just getting to work. They didn't have the grass cut. They found other people to do it, and they just made their money by giving the work out. So there's, like I said, we're trying to give you a spark session. Don't box yourself in. What you want to do, always don't ever say, I can't. Because if you say, I can't, it shuts your mind down. Say, how can I afford that? Or how can I get out of debt? If you don't open your mind and just shut it down, you're going to be in the same rut. And always just open yourself, if you can, to the solution. To the solution. A lot of people have a habit, and somebody the other day actually got mad at me because I'm always going to be solution based. They understood something, and I was like, wow, you understand all of that. And so I said, well, okay. So, and some people like, don't do that, and y'all don't know why y'all doing that and that. Okay, and they really have understanding. But then when you say, okay, so what should we be doing? And they got so mad. I said, oh my God. No, I wasn't being facetious. Like, okay, what should we be doing then? Because if you can, and they got really offended. And I said, no, I wasn't coming at you. I just thought since you had the understanding of how this worked, you should know the problem. So I gave them the example. If my mechanic can understand everything that's wrong with my car, right? Like, this is the problem with your car. Is this, that don't drive too fast? This is your issue. What's going to be my next step? So what can I do to fix it? Imagine your mechanic go, like what? I just thought, since you know how these things operate, what should I be doing to fix the situation? So, but then I realized a lot of people, that's not the next part of their process. You see what I'm saying? It's like, so it's like always nitpicking or fact, just always finding fault finding. But then you have to switch it over at some point to have a solution to the problem, or we're going to just be stuck in the problem. You did the first step, you identified the problem. But how now, since you have all this understanding, and I realized, Diamond, some people never make it to that part of it to say, okay, how do I fix it?
Yeah, that's true.
And not saying you got to know at all, because life is about, even a doctor, they say he has a practice. They don't know the cure. They start trying things. Is it something that we can try to fix the situation? And I'll land there.
No, that's good. That's good. I wanted to, if I could, stepping away from the property preservations, and wanted to mention another industry, kind of like, or another industry. But also, after going over that, I want to ask, so we talking about ways to generate the income, right? And then going into now, when you start actually generating some extra income, how to apply that to your credit to improve your credit? But I want to revisit that question in just a second.
And one thing else I want you to touch on, you
Mhm.
have your group with social media. Can you give them, because that's another thing, I wish we would have flipped this and started with the social media. A lot of people might not have, the inspections might put them back. But social media, can you just touch on some ideas on how people can make money at their own home? Using and leveraging these social media platforms. Can you just give them a touch of some ideas?
Yeah, for sure. Number one, if you have anything that you don't even have to be an expert in. If you accomplished anything, and I mean, I gave an example. I had a friend who, Sydney, my friend Sydney, she does a cleaning. She started her own cleaning business, right? And she actually got contracts with like Chick-fil-A and things like that. And I told her, you need to talk about, how did you end up getting that? And she was like, oh, kind of doubting herself a little bit. But she was like, well, I don't have it all figured out. But I'm like, you're a step way ahead of somebody else that wants to understand that. Or another lady that I was coaching, that she had a cleaning business as well. And she was like, people keep asking me, well, how do I start my own cleaning business? She's like, but I haven't had that much under my belt. And I was like, well, you've had like 10 clients thus far, right? And she's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, that's way more than what anybody else has. And so if you have something that you accomplished, if you had something that other people would be interested in knowing, how did you get to that point? And this could be if somebody of any age. I mean, you could be working in your company for the last 15 years, you know what I'm saying? And you could have landed a tech job and people want to know, well, how did you get into the tech industry? You could be a college kid and you got accepted to your favorite school and somebody want to know, how did you do that? You know what I'm saying? So there's always somebody that if you could speak to yourself 5 years ago and give yourself advice on how you got where you are, there is somebody that wants to hear that. And I wholeheartedly believe you could do that on any social platform, but YouTube is the bread and butter for something like that. And I believe that if you are able to communicate, to solve a problem and give somebody a solution, then there's endless ways for you to actually generate a full-time income from that. And that's what we do and have been doing for the last six years for me, probably 10 years for you, is generating a full-time income simply by solving problems. That now I do have a new YouTube channel where I talk strictly on that, and I'm talking about different ways of monetization. If you guys are interested, if you want to make your first $1,000 online, there's like 6 or 7 different ways that I talk about in this video, and I want to share it with you guys as well.
And I love that you said that. And all of you guys are here because of that one principle. And going back to Michelle, the young lady I met doing that, where I got into the inspections, she was the same catalyst. And I'll say this all the time. She was a real estate investor. And I would just tell her, because I invested, I didn't know that. I'm like, y'all don't know about credit. I just knew about credit because I kept buying real estate properties. And it just was in a time like credit, like I didn't know, people didn't understand that came so natural to me. My parents invested, but I understood how to get your credit up to qualify for a home and how to do that. And I told it to her, and she's a real estate agent. She was like, you don't know people need to know this. Now, mind you, my family don't want to hear this from me, because that's who I am as a person. Like, don't nobody care. I swear to God, don't nobody care. And so what I'm just telling you, in people's mind, it's not that they mean, and a lot of people judge their value around sometimes people around them. You're just familiar to them. You get what I'm saying? Your personality. But when she told me that, I was like, really? People don't know that? I just thought everybody knew that. I'll be honest. She was like, no, you need to put out a video. Just tell people from me, and I'm going to put it on my page. I did that one video, and it was on Facebook. Y'all, I got 4 million. It scared the bejesus out of me. Shared. So this is what I want to share with y'all. I did not know that this was valuable. Y'all would say, what? You didn't? I had no idea. Honestly and truthfully, I had no idea. There's something in you that you are negating that you have no idea that it is so valuable to somebody else. And
Mhm.
I'm a living witness. And y'all, that's why I think a lot of people that deal with me in my group, I am not the business like, oh, guru. That is not. I'm a real person. I never really been credit repair. I always thought about investing. Real estate was my passion. It was just credit was a means to an end to get there.
Mhm.
So that's why I didn't take it. It was like, that's not my goal. This is the goal to control the real estate. Y'all don't see it? Like, you know what I'm saying? No, but I didn't understand the in between of credit. People needed that for it was so abstract to a person individual need. I had no idea it was that because that was my blinders. All I saw was real estate. And something Diamond told me, like, it was like, wow, like renting, I never really rented. Like, so I didn't because I bought my first real estate property at 21 because it was a family thing. Like, I didn't even know until now. I'm like, people really, I didn't know. Like, sometimes that's why I say your own reality and what you think is not even real like that. I had no idea. Like people had to go through what they had to do to rent. I'll be honest. It might sound like, what? No, because my parents always owned a home I was born in. They had real estate properties. So when it's like I just went on and bought my own like that. And then when I moved to Connecticut, I read it one time. I was like, oh, I hate this. I'm buying a house. And it was just always that. So I understood the credit in between. So it's something like that for you too. Something you don't know, you might know hair, you might not know cooking, anything, and give it to them, Diamond. Anything that people keep asking you to do,
Mhm.
that's that thing.
Yep.
So your family member, we want y'all right now as an exercise, give it to them, Diamond. This we giving you some free game. Whatever everybody come to you and ask you to do this, fill
Mhm.
in that blank. That's your gift right there.
Yeah.
That's your gift. It's not your gift is not your passion. Don't get it twisted. You might not. I was passionate about basketball, and baby, it was not it. It was not it. I promise you, it was not it for me, right? But I loved it, all right? I wish I could, but I was passionate about it, but it wasn't my gift. So it's the thing that every now people ain't want to hear all that from me, but anybody in my family knew before this, if they need to get their credit right, they'll come and ask me like that question, hey, how you do this? That was, but I never realized that was that thing. So whatever that is for you, that's the thing that people need. That's why they asking you to do it. That's why they keep asking you. And you're doing it for free. And they would actually probably pay you. You just never asked. You never knew how valuable it was. So you never asked. You've been given away for free. So I hope that kind of puts some perspective for somebody.
Yes, thank you. Can we get some engagement in the chat? If you guys are still here, put a one in the chat. And also, we're going to start getting to some of your questions that you asked. Um, Wanted to circle to the question of, let's say, hypothetically speaking, somebody, they start to earn a little bit more money. Their credit has taken a hit because of all of this credit card debt or whatever debt that they have. For an example, we had a question that said I maxed out and I expect to pay them off eventually, but looking into a personal loan until I could pay them all off. That's a good idea. I got the Navy Federal account, but no extra money to get things rolling. But what happens when they start to have a little bit of extra money? What credit cards should they be attacking, or what loans should they be paying off? So if they've taken out payday loans, should that be the first thing that they start paying back, or should they start focusing on their credit cards to get out of debt?
The number one thing you need to focus on to get out of debt is your budget.
Mm.
You need to sit down, actually look how much income you got coming in, and then from there, see what you can cut back on. That's number one. A dollar saved is a dollar earned. And so I think a lot of people negate that. You might have to look at your budget. Now, once you know how much money you got coming in monthly, then you want to attack. If you want to see your score go up, if you have any cards that are maxed out, that should be some of your first priority, because the more you start paying that down, the higher your score is going to go up. The second one, say if you don't have none of them maxed out, go for the highest interest rate cards. That might give you more relief if you can pay that down, right? So, number one in all things, start with your budget. A dollar saved is a dollar earned. Is there some things that you can you can change? You might even have to look at your lease. If you're renting and you really look at like, hey, maybe I don't need 4 bedrooms at this stage of life. I have one of my children who's in college. I'm using this room as an office. They don't come back. Maybe then you need to see if I can either downsize, or there's things like Furnish Finder. Can I rent this room out? Or like you had Neighbor, can I put this room to work for me? You get what I'm saying? Furnish Finder is for traveling nurses. Instead of just leaving that as a spare room, even if your child come back, maybe in between there, can you rent that room out to a traveling nurse? And now that's an asset for you, like to make income. If you like, a lot of people, I don't want nobody in my house. Well, maybe you need to downsize. Maybe you can refinance your vehicle if that opportunity, if the interest rates, see where you can call that credit card company. Sometimes if you've been in good standing, they might decrease that interest rate for you. So see where you can come back. Even like your grocery bill might have to, and me and Diamond share this. We've been trying to cut back, and she was the one gave me this to we lost weight and trying to maintain that. And she was saying, Mom, beef woke me up. I find that too, you can stay leaner. And now it just came right on time. Beef is mad expensive. So
Yes.
instead of buying background beef, and I think
Yes.
everybody, we are chickened out. My husband cooked some beef today, but this is rare in between because beef is so expensive. So if that's your thing, maybe look at even your budget. Are we, because we're doing that, are we eating everything? Is there food going to waste? Like, are we really examining what we're buying? Do my kid even like this snack? Because sometimes you just in the mode of buying things, and do I even eat this? Like milk, I am not big on milk. So instead of buying a big gallon, should I get a smaller gallon so food things don't go to waste? So turning off your lights. Maybe you need to downsize on your electric bill. Be more conscious about how you run a heat. My mama would tell us, well, all the time, you better put on a sweater. And you know what? When you paying that bill, you do. You need to put. I'm cold all the time. You get what I'm saying? Put on a sweater. Do we got to run this whole AC? Or baby, do you need a fan? Okay, up in that room, because you the only one that's hot. My daughter Faith is good for to have us all freezing. Baby, you need to go and grab that fan because the rest of us is cold. So I'm just saying, you'll be surprised because y'all all know everybody electric bill look like it went up. Maybe we need to look at that. Yeah, and let me tell y'all another thing, and it might, I don't know if I'm hood or what, or what we taught that. Yo, in the wintertime, that's when you baking chicken. We ain't doing this when it's hot. And you think about bacon is like, I'm talking about like baking chicken, baking things using that stove. Sometimes that's an easy, convenient way. But if you want to do something like that, and it's the summertime, you might need a crock pot. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we're not burning as much. Yeah, and it's hot up in here. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying those are things with expensive going up. Start with your budget. Where can you cut?
A question that we see a lot of times is when it comes to credit cards, which credit card should they pay? For an example, if they let's say they have a card that they only have like $1,000 limit on it, anyways, but they've maxed that out, versus they got another credit card that's like a $12,000 limit and they've maxed that out. Which one should they attack first to actually see some movement in their credit score? Like, what's going to bring them to that faster?
At that, I'll look at the interest rates, right? And so, say the young lady said Navy Federal. That's a perfect example. Their interest rates tend to be very good, like the credit union, especially on credit cards. So, if I have two and the Navy Federal is the higher, I probably will get that down quicker, not quicker, or get it down to a certain point on that to bring that, and then focus on the other card that's probably that $1,000 higher interest. Once I get that Navy Federal, just a little like some breathing room, then start paying down that $1,000 credit card, because you could get that done quicker. And mentally, once you do that, what is it? The snowball method, and it get paid off, you'll feel so much better. And then you can just go at that Navy Federal card. But at least you want to look at them. Interest rates really matter. Like some of those Chase cards are really high. If you got real high credit card interest, that if you're carrying balances, that bombards you. So that can give you some relief, and then you can go, you can move over to that. And it might be from that point, you guys think about it, it might not be forever. Like you might say, oh my God, I owe like 25,000 on this card. No, you might can get it down to a point. Now your score go up that the whole thing don't get paid down, and now you can get a loan. You get what I'm saying? So keep that in mind, where you could, because sometimes it's like the long game, it looks so impossible. But remember, if you get it down enough and that score go up, then you can go to a loan. It can open you up for a loan.
Another question that's like, it's real, and a lot of people are in that situation, especially when we're talking about debt. Let's say they got a bunch of credit cards, they don't have the money to pay the credit cards, right? And then they go, should I file for bankruptcy? Because a lot of people will come to us and say, I can't pay, should I go ahead and file for bankruptcy? So it's a twofold question. When, if ever, should bankruptcy be an option? But also, if they could only pay, certain bills, what should be a priority?
Y'all be surprised. Call those credit card companies. A lot of them are willing to work with you. Don't think that you're the only one that's going through that. You'll be surprised how some of them are open to work out a plan. Bankruptcy, a lot of times Chapter 7, that's going to stay in your credit score for 10 years. I'll be honest, if you have to, say you call them, it's really not enough space, I would try to prioritize my oldest cards to maintain them. Like, because sometimes, like, I ain't got it. Okay, it is what it is. I just ain't got it. You can't get water from a rock. It is what it is. Then try to prioritize the oldest card, because that's got your most your longest history on it. So if you have to, look at the age and try to maintain that. If the other ones have to go, I wouldn't just like panic. You can dispute stuff. Okay, you can dispute stuff. If it's going down, it's going down. I'm just saying, if it's going down. Now, some of y'all, I told y'all, don't give up. Some of y'all, it's just like, I can make the minimum, but I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Don't give up, because if you put some of these things we're saying in effect and your situation change, once you pay that down, your score go back, like skyrocket up. So don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Mentally, don't give up. I just want to remind, because I did that. Oh God, I hate I did. Because that's why I'm just talking about relatable. I've been there. I was like, man, I'm sorry this. Forget them. And if I would have, and I did this with one particular card, because I ain't like them anyway. Like, I don't like y'all anyway. But don't do that, because then something turned around and it was like, dang. Yeah, man, if I ain't do that, I would have been Gucci. Yeah, so don't do that. So I'm just saying, If you can't do it, it is what it is, but try to prioritize age if you
Mm.
can.
I wanted to get to this comment from Stacy to see if you had any advice to offer. Stacy said that she credit card bills are high. I can't get a line of credit due to my high credit utilization. My husband and I, um, the home is in her husband's name, and he can't get a HELOC loan neither at this time. Do you have any advice for this particular situation?
I mean, you number one, look at your budget. That's where I'm going to always start. Number one, look at your budget. See if it's anywhere that you guys can cut. Sometimes also, like I said, look at refinancing your car. Sometimes, because it's already a secured debt, a lot of banks will refinance. I think what is that? Cabaloo. You might have some other options of your credit union to refinance that, and that may can give you the money that you need. The second part of that, if the with your HELOC loan, it's just like I said, it's that other way, making more income or cutting. That's it. If you can't carry it, like I said earlier, strategizing that it's not going to be like back before 2015, you used to can throw like a merchandise line. And if that was cleared up, that can help. That it doesn't happen like that anymore. Anything like over 70 or 60%, like max, close to being maxed out an individual card, it start tanking your credit score. So you want to see, what you can do. One of the options, I hate to say this, 401k. Can you take a loan?
Mm.
Borrow against your 401k. I mean, if it's that dire and you could pay that down, maybe you could put the money back with the 401k. If you can get the loan, put some money back there. And sometimes if you got whole life insurance, you can borrow against the policy. I'm not saying that this is not advice. I'm just throwing it out there.
Mhm.
If you got things like that, if you're in a desperate situation. So those are some other outside options.
So Sheila asks, what if a company charged off the debt and they're now reporting another amount owed to my credit report?
You want to dispute the account. I would start there. Have you even tried to dispute the account? Because if you haven't disputed it with the credit bureaus, that's where I would start, to dispute the account.
Sorry, going over some of our so we had a couple other I wanted to give a shout out here. Say your channel is a lifesaver. I had a 620 credit score and then got 7 credit cards, high interest rate, and I make the minimum payment and max them. But wanted to just highlight this comment.
Well, congratulations though, working on your credit. And don't, like, these are unique times. Are we seeing or I told Diamond about this. Do you know the middle class at this moment in time, a large sum of them are donating plasma. And I don't know if y'all seen that news story, just to make ends meet. So a lot of people right now is battling credit card debt, a whole lot. And it was because of the cost of the living from the pandemic, supply chains was messed up. So it's just not you alone. So any other time, people love to do that. You should live in your means. But when everything doubled, except for your paycheck, come on, people, like, please. I hate people like that too. I hate that. Like, you don't see the rational sense of that, like the rationale. And it was crazy because I just dropped that video and somebody was talking about, because I was saying with the gold and silver, and especially, oh, where's my little silver? Oh, gee, my silver eagles, and was talking about that. And somebody like, oh, you're just pushing silver and did it for. No, baby, I've been doing that. I've been doing it. And when I sent them the link to the video, I realized 2020, I went back to look at what was the price. It was, the video was October 24th, 2020. The price of silver at that time for the Silver Eagle was like $24. The price of silver today, this is $80, $85. This went up by $62 worth of wealth. Diamond, you remember I used to take y'all. This is another one y'all should. Them pennies, you might need to cash in them pennies. Remember I took y'all pennies back then and got y'all some silver. I said, instead of we holding this in pennies, we need to go and flip it out. And what took you to
Walmart
the coin shop,
yeah.
and we got silver. That might be an idea for some of y'all. And it's not because this went so much up. That's just showing you the depreciation of your dollar. That's what I'm trying to get people to get. Y'all really don't understand the Ponzi scheme on how they robbing you. And so when I say to switch it out, take that from the example, a 62. So I did nothing. I just took out at that time $24 of $24 cash and just converted it to silver, which is money. The Silver Eagle is American currency. Look how much of my economic power I saved by switching it out. $62. So if I take this to a coin shop, which y'all don't get, I can go and turn it in and get the 62 cash. People like, or no, the 85 cash. People are, I can't eat that. Take it to the coin, baby. They'll be glad to take it off your hands. Okay, they'll take it quick, fast, in a hurry. And yeah, take that. And guess what? You could pay your bills. It's just they're really robbing you of your wealth. The more they're about to reduce interest rates again, stuff going back up. That's why you can't barely afford a house now. It's like impossible. It's not that you ain't working hard. They didn't. Soon as they printed for you to live the same, if you made $20 an hour, they needed to double your pay. You should have been making $40 an hour to now live at that same 20. If y'all don't understand, I don't know how I can tell you. So it's like, I used to have my card. Imagine, one time I had my basketball card collection. Imagine a Michael Jordan, a limited edition card, right? It's only 3 in the world. How valuable that card is. Now, if they start printing $2,000 of those same cards, is it valuable anymore? Or do the value start going down the more they print? Because a basketball card is nothing but paper. So is your dollar.
Yeah.
So the more that they print, then it start losing its value. That's why the silver went up. This stayed the same because silver and gold, there's a limited amount in the world. It's a limited supply. So what it is, compared to your dollar, you thinking this went up. No, they just diluting more dollars. So the Michael Jordan basketball card, they printed more. That's what they doing to your dollars. That's what it is. So if that 3 of them was worth $1 million, right? I got 3 cards. This $3 million. Soon as they start printing 6 of them, that got cut in half. Oh, wow. So I'm down to like 1.5. Yeah. And then the more they print, we're going to print another 3. It start cutting in half. And this is what they're doing. They're adding more money. They're expanding the money supply. So when they decrease interest rates, they're expanding the money supply. If they're selling treasury bonds, selling debt, same thing. So that's what you're feeling. So it's not really you. You needed to get paid more to keep suit with the inflation. So that's what's going on. But that I just wanted to use that as an example to show you how real it was. 2020, before they started printing. Now this is $85, a $62 gap. That's crazy. That
Mhm.
just it just highlight how much how much the inflation went up. That's why everything looks to be more. It's like, my God, I think you saw the one gentleman who went back and looked at his Walmart shopping order, and it
Mm.
was
Mhm.
what, like $150 that he originally had paid, and the same items now was like $424, and he
Yeah.
was just highlighting how much the inflation went up. And that's what's going on, you guys. So that's why you got that credit card debt. You
Yeah.
don't realize it. It's the frog in the pot. You're working every day. You got your family. Oh, my car broke down. Oh, this. Let me throw it on this card. I
Mhm.
don't got it. Let me throw, and that just add up. Let me do this because you're not making enough money and you didn't see and that's why they do it. It's tricky. And if you don't own anything and all you do is save in dollars, they're going to constantly erode your value. So that's it. And somebody said exactly, Sherry. We have to. Oh Lord. Okay. Thank you. We have to make the calls to the creditors. Don't argue with them or threaten them with violations when we did not read the contracts and we neglected any payments at all. And it's true, you can, and especially you guys, save it before. If you can get there before, I'm telling you, you guys, these creditors, call them. If
Mm.
you really can't do it, just call them and tell them, like, before the card close, hey, I'm having a tough time. Because some of them will let you change. Some of y'all might need to change your payment dates on your credit cards. That might be your issue. You do know a lot of times with these accounts, even your loan accounts, car notes, they'll let you sometimes change it once a year. And what it might be when you really look at your budget, like, it's like my paycheck hit too late. So maybe you can adjust that date where it's more aligned with your pay. And maybe you say, hey, I know I'm tapped out because that first week of the month where they got this payment, I got to pay my rent.
Mhm.
I'll be better off if it was like more around the 15th. Then call them and see if you can move those dates and just see if you can do that. And especially if you and your spouse, even not, if you are a partner or your family, see if you guys can make those adjustments.
That's good. Someone asked, should I pay my Affirm? It was charged off 1 year ago and it's still on my credit report.
Did you dispute it? Is it because any account is going to stay there for 7 years? What you want to do is dispute it. I would start there. I will always start to dispute the account with the credit bureaus, because you'll be surprised how many people, like in the group, one person, it was not saying this is always the results. All of their stuff came off and they had some things. Okay. We had one person, they've been there for, like, I guess if you call 6 months, a minute, child, they done, each report got over 153 items
Mm.
off of each one, over 140 items. They had a lot of stuff. So it can be done. You just gotta you just gotta, what they say, a closed mouth don't get fed.
Yeah.
You gotta try. You
Yeah.
got what I'm saying? And if that come off, that's better than paying it. I'm just saying. I mean, you could if you want the relationship, but it don't stop a lawsuit. Don't give me. But I'll see y'all when I see y'all. I mean, I guess. Until now, you gonna get this dispute. I might not have a payment, but I got a pen. And
I can't.
But yeah, just at least try to dispute it. I mean, it's worth trying, unless you just want to pay $200 to somebody, 500, whatever you owe. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you know, all they can say, verified, and I'm going at them again. And like I tell y'all, all of this stuff won't be linear. Sometimes you might get it off of one bureau. Then, you know, later on the second one. Then leverage the bureau that get cleared up. Just get started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a comment I wanted to say, like the closed mouths don't get fed thing. Like I feel like that's something I'm definitely learning, and just like you might as well try. Like, you know what I'm saying? The worst thing that you could. So even what you're saying, even with the credit cards and stuff like that, with my channel, it was like, why let them just take the channel? You might as well contact them and see if they
Contact them.
can. You know what I'm saying? Even back in the day when my accounts kept going in the negative, I just called a bank and, like, you know, they hit you with that fee. Like, can y'all take the fee off? Like, you know what I'm saying? And they would, and they really would. You just need, sometimes it's just calling and just,
you want to testify about your channel and how that persistence,
oh, the Lord is good.
and the resistance get it done.
Yeah. So they had permanently taken down my main channel for about 60 days. It was like 2 months, and I felt the Lord like, you just gonna let it go and like at least try. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to them again. And I reached out
on Twitter too.
I tweeted them. I hit them back in the email, and I was like, look, I feel like y'all wrongfully deleted my channel. Can y'all please help me out? And they did. And they did within like a week of me emailing them. So just like closed mouths don't get fed, you might as well say something, not just let life happen to you. You know what I'm saying? And just say something.
And on the credit side, like I said, now one of them say it's like, oh well, it's still on Equifax, but it fell off of Experian or TransUnion or vice versa. There's certain banks for that loan you need to pay off that credit card debt. If you could clear that off, only pull from that bureau. So that's why I said this is why this is a spark session. Some of y'all be like, you know, I ain't never thought about that. Yeah. So if you clear that one up, then I create you a list. Well, this is where so-and-so pull from here from their loans. You should go over there. Credit card, you should go over there. Then, so you got to strategize. Like I said, I'm going back to that person I had that conversation, and they're like, you ain't think out a solution. Like, we ain't never like, well, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? Wait, you know all the negative, but can we fix the polarity of that thinking now that we identify? So what can we do to solve that? You get what I'm saying? So think about that. Just don't just be nobody victim all the time. You got power. God gave you drive, unction. We all got everything. Two things the same. God gave all of us 7 days a week. What they say, what 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. What you do with your time is your business. And sometimes I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this. This trigger content, my God, the trigger content. You got to put your mind on, or the messiness will scoop you right up, right? You see, your algorithm will get you. Sometimes you got to just resist what's just popping up. You like, because sometimes when you be in negativity, child, you will read negativity. Your mind will be so negative. I remember with my husband, when I started looking and dating, stay away from love and hip hop and think about life after lockup. You don't want to, you right? You can't, because won't that bad relationship get in your this look like what Todd did to Candy? Remind me of Todd. You know, you watching too much Housewives.
Relationship advice on TikTok, yeah, all of that.
hold on. He seemed like he acting like Safari, girl. Because you done got something wrong in your spirit and listening to, different little manosphere content, womensphere. I don't know what it is. And so, you got watch too. What I start doing, if you got a problem, start listening to solution-based stuff in that arena. You'll be surprised what you come across at the same time. So that's another thing. Try to disconnect from, because I'm telling you, your real best asset is this mind of yours. You put that to work, and that's why I had to say, let me tell you what else y'all got to cut off. And Diamond can testify to this. Friends that got a whole bunch of problems, so you might have to cut that off too. Like, and I'm not saying because you ever, like, people be doing things like, I don't understand why she's still with him, why he done, and you be laying in the bed at night, oh gosh, I don't know why she do this. Now that time that you pondering something crazy somebody told you and they keep doing it, you could be thinking about a solution. I'm dead serious. You could be thinking about solutions. This is where I be looking about content. So I have to stop this because y'all want information. And sometimes the information I got to bring you is information that most of the times y'all didn't hear because I have to stay on the research part. So even that's my testimony. I like to be messy. Sometimes I'll be watching messy stuff like, ooh, this look messy. And you just go right over there to the little gossip channel. What happened at the Super Bowl? Ooh, they not together no more. That little curiosity, but that'll get you messed up. That'll get you messed up and derailed. So you just gotta watch it. Watch the politics, because they'll have you in your feelings too. Ooh, why they do that? And everybody got echo chambers going on.
I wanted to, on that point, someone made a comment, and I didn't get a chance to get to it, but I think it's a good segue about the property preservations. And they asked, have you ever had to go and deal with the resident that was racist? I live in an area where people don't like other races. And I think it's a very real fear. And I'll be honest, doing some inspections, I'm not gonna lie, I have been in some rural areas of Texas recently, but my mind went to, if somebody got land, dogs, chicken, and goats, they might not want my Black self around here. You know what I'm saying? My mind, it did go there. I'm not gonna lie. I went to this one house, and I was about to, because sometimes with the inspections, for the company I work for, like, you gotta do the inspection anyway. Like, it don't matter if that person not home, you still gotta do the inspection. So I couldn't tell that the person wasn't home. I'm like going up to walk up to their door. And I'm like, I don't really like the way this is feeling, a little too rural for me, and the dog was loose on the property. And so the dog just popped up out of nowhere, started growling. I started walking backwards real slow. And I got to my car, but I was like sitting there, and I'm like, oh, I need to get up out of here. And a lady came out, and she was so sweet, white lady, very nice. And she was like, oh, ma'am, are you okay? Like, can I help you? And I was like, I'm looking for so-and-so. And she's like, oh, we have the same address, but he's actually down the street. Very nice people. You know what I'm saying? I was terrified, honestly, because it was very rural. Then I went to the other person's house. It's very rural, chicken and goats everywhere. But honestly, I had not had any type of racist encounter. And I'm not saying that that's not a real thing, because there are sundown towns for sure, and you want to be careful where you're going to. But sometimes it could be your own misconceptions of what you think people would be like because they live a certain life or because they're in a certain area. And I haven't been met with that. But I'll be honest and say that it is a thought in my head sometimes when I go to certain areas as a Black woman, like, I gotta walk up on their property. This is Texas. They could shoot. You know what I'm saying? That's a very real situation, but I haven't had a problem like that as of yet.
Now, one of the things, if you're in the insurance industry, like on her side, they do sometimes have that person number. I would call them the day I'm coming out and just let them know, I'm coming out to the property, and their agent should have already notified them. And I was telling them that, and you can expect me today. all the years that I was doing it, I never really I never got any, I'll be honest, no, I didn't. The probably the only thing is just squatters.
Oh.
That's the thing. Squatters. So if it was the mortgage field inspections, and it's some of those are interior inspections,
Mm.
the squatters. So if I see a door open or whatever, I'm sure I'm not going up in there. Pop, pop, done. Her situation, dog. If you in the car and you cheep, dog, not
Mhm.
going over there.
Mhm.
So that's how I would handle things. And I'll do my best. I'll take it from the road and I'll try to get a picture of the dog.
Yeah.
And then they'll notify that it was dog loose or whatever. But you never go in any backyards, gates, or nothing like that. That's just been my rule of thumb. But yeah, I don't I haven't. And I'll be honest, a lot of times, like what she said too, you gotta watch too what you consume. Cause sometimes, like I have learned, if you have that expectation of problems, believe it or not, you could be the one that start the problem.
Mhm.
So say for instance, if you go to a party and you're already on one, you already upset, we have did this, and somebody bump into you. We have seen this, and we have seen fights whole break out just because somebody bumps somebody and you're already in a mindset. And and it could be like, excuse me, like excuse yourself, and that person might like, my bad. But because that person is already heightened on a heightened sense of, what they have preconceptions of things, sometimes that can escalate. And sometimes you have to work on de-escalation. And I would say that, like, I have found way more racism in New Jersey than here by far. I'll be honest. Like core racism, way more up there. I'll be honest. And I'm not going to say like from police or stuff like that. But other racism. And I'll tell you, because I was down here, my husband, he constitutionally carried. And I was shook. My God, if that was New Jersey and I got a pew pew. My God, put my hand. I said, "Look, officer, I'm letting you know on that steering wheel, I got a firearm. It's my husband's, it's not mine. Not mine. Mine's is at home. It's not mine." He was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, what? You sure? You can get it? No, no, that's mine. I just wanted to tell you your headlight was out. It was that simple. No ticket, no nothing. Now,
Mhm.
say if I'm on one, you get what I'm saying? If I'm on one, that situation could be bad because I'm thinking, hey, I'm about to get Sandra Bland or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So, but I was surprised because up there, I don't know. You can't be having no firearm with no bullets in it. You can't have no bullets in it. God, I would fear for my life. But down here, you'll be surprised. The
Mhm.
police don't even really pull you over like that. I ain't never, honestly, Jersey is the only place I see the cops be pulling you over. Like, my God, like they be like out of whoop, whoop. Like, what happened? He after me. I'm just starting to de-escalate. If you in that northeast, you know when that cop get behind you. I'm like, you be like, oh, he going to pull me over. God, don't let him pull me in them lights.
Mm.
It don't be like that down here. It be like either move on, you ain't going too fast. In my experience, thus
Yeah.
far, I'm
But
just
in
saying.
this industry too, I also realize what you wear too. Like you should look presentable. Y'all can see I got these long.
Nah, that's presentability
I got no.
politics.
It's true. Well, it's
Mhm.
about looking professional. It's about looking professional. So it's like I will
Oh,
go in
for the inspections, yes.
for the inspections, talking about I would go in with a turtleneck and dress pants, and then I have my badge on me, and I got these long locks right now. I put them in a nice bun. You know what I'm saying? I look like I carry what's the name? What's this called? Clipboard. Carry a clipboard, so I don't look like somebody that's coming to rob you in broad daylight, 2 p.m. on a random Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? So that also helps too. I think if you make sure that you look professional and you look presentable and you look like I'm here to do it. I think at worst you look like a solicitor. At worst, you know.
And they have, and a lot of these companies do give you an ID card,
Yes.
and a lot of them business cards.
Yes.
Please carry those. Like, so that's important to give them a business card to let them know they can call your office and they can get clarity. So yes, you need to be presentable when you go out there. And once again, this is your business. In that case, you're representing your own business. Yeah. So, but if you're a person like, hey, you know your region, if you know it's places that are racist and it's known to be a sundown town, don't be nobody fool. And you don't have to take that. You can tell them, I can't take that. And sometimes they say, well, we can't have you to do the whole, we need you to do that area for that. Then you don't take it. Then don't ever put your life, because you know your area better than that. Than in nobody, than anybody. And we're not gonna lie. For men, it might be more, aggressive and stuff like that. And yeah, people have listen, colorism, featureism is a very real thing. We ain't going front on that neither. We are not going, we ain't going, I'm not going to sit here and lie to say diamond experience might be the same as my experience as somebody else who's a male, looking like Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
And up to somebody else. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not real. And sometimes, a lot of times, people are more de-escalated when they see it's a female. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa. But men, you might have a different real lived experience. So we won't, don't never put yourself in harm's way.
Yeah. But I thought that was a good thing, just to, because it's a very real situation and a fear that comes up in that industry. And again, especially with the company I work for, even like you said, you don't go in nobody's backyard. We don't go in anybody's backyard if they have a privacy fence, meaning you have that wooden fence. If they don't have a wooden fence and they have there's you could totally unlock it, you have to go in their backyard and take those pictures. So that's a very real thing, to be walking in somebody's backyard. And it's definitely something you think about.
And somebody said, I carry mines everywhere because it's crazy out here. Girl, I ain't never felt the freedom I felt. Lord, they don't need this in the Northeast though, because people, but I feel free to be able to carry in the winter, I'm carrying the summer. All right. It can get heated out here. I enjoy it that I can protect myself. I think that it should be a right in order to protect yourself. It keeps a lot of people, I will tell people, because being up there, you can pop off, that popping off. And when you cross the Mason-Dixon lines, don't pop off nobody, because the laws is very different. Stand your ground laws is very real. The castle doctrine is very real. And when you go to different places, when you're in Rome, do what Romans do. Certain things don't mesh. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said to be aware of your area. If you know over there it's a no-fly zone for me, don't put yourself in harm's way. You know better than anybody else. But at the same time, just watch out for your own, energy. Because I have been that way. I'm not gonna lie. I try to smile more, because when people tell me in real life, I do have the resting. I rest. I rest. I'm friendly. But you have to, sometimes it be like how we, how we present, or sometimes what our mind is on. And I do know that is a tool in Northeast. Y'all already know. You look at it You look at it. Hey girl, hey girl. Down here, it does not roll like that. You know what I'm saying? Down here, a dude, you say, excuse me, you was talking to me. I knew you. Ooh, let me see. You know, and they like, hey, and you got walk real fast.
Mhm. Mhm.
It
Mhm.
is different. So we can't even get eye contact.
Yeah.
You can't. So just watch what you're giving off.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Well, I think that, oh, well, we have another question. If you want to take this last question, and then we're approaching 2 hours. I have a Capital One card, and my dentist charged one card to the maximum, and they started sending me the charge to another card I have with Capital One, and they're charging it now, but I didn't authorize the new card. How do you get your information? I don't know. You on mute.
I have a Capital One card and my dentist charge one card
To the
to Max. Then they started sending the charge to another card I have with Capital One and charging it now, but I didn't authorize the new card. I would reach out to that dentist because how did they even get that information
That's what I
from
just said.
me?
How to get your information?
Yeah, I would reach out to that dentist and
Yeah.
find out how they got that information. Yeah, and I would tell them, no, you bill me, and yeah, that you ain't putting your card on there, and see if you can block that charge moving forward. I'll call Capital One and see if I can block that. But I would find out how they're charging you. Like,
Mm.
where did they get that? They'll have to send me some paperwork. Yeah, if you didn't give authorization. So I would ask for everything I signed too. And someone said, here in Georgia, you just found another black man, strange fruited. Oh my goodness. That is insane. Oh, you're from Detroit. So you be seeing, I did hear something about that. Somebody was found, but I have to dig into the details. And I think they did say it was a alleged suicide, but I did not go deep. So I'm going to look into that story. I have heard that circulating. And so it's very important that we be aware of these things, especially around your neighborhood. So anybody in Georgia, please be aware of this, of what's going on. I heard some, I now see this is saying, I heard people whispers about people were saying the strange fruited, situations been popping up around the nation. So I will look into it, and everybody else, especially if you in these areas, definitely be aware. And thank you for letting us know about that story. Please look into it, everyone, because we need to know what's behind that, what's going on, especially if it's a string of things. Now, I can't say it's guaranteed. I heard somebody else had made mention of it. So I would have to look into it because we do know misinformation or people just, speaking, they can get stories mixed up. But I did hear something about that. So we would definitely thank you for letting us know.
Mm.
All right. Any more questions?
I believe that was all for the night. If we ended up bypassing your question in any way, we will be back next Saturday, right? Yeah, we will be back next Saturday, next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, you could always go over to our website, quickguidehowtoboostyourcredit.com or sherrybeckley.com, and you can ask your questions there. If you have more technical issues, like a young lady or someone in here said that they were having a technical issue with the Elite Credit System, we will definitely get to you. Please, when you go to the Elite Credit System, we have our email, our support email, that you can reach out to us so we can help you. I think they said it was a problem with their password. We can help you reset your password so you can get back into your portal. Yeah. And if anyone is interested in joining the Elite Credit System, there's group coaching there as well. If you want to ask more in-depth questions and you want to ask more to get your particular report looked at and get a quick strategized plan, then you could do that there at the elitecreditsystem.com. And I'm going to leave the link for you guys there.
And somebody asked what's strange fruited. I'm using other terms. If you are not familiar with Billie Holiday and Kanye West, Blood on the Leaves, Strange Fruit. Um, it's a song by Billie Holiday, and she talked about the experience in the South when she was traveling of men, Black men being with the loose. You get what I'm saying? It's Black History Month. But that's what strange fruit meant. And she made a song talk about strange fruit. And that's where Kanye did that blood on the leaves and the poppy trees. Yeah, if you ain't hear that, yeah, you remember that song Strange Fruit by Kanye. He sampled that, but it's about I don't think now we're deep in it lynching. It's about people being lynched, but that's what I just tried to because certain things,
We
I
have to
don't
be
know if
careful
it's
what we say on YouTube.
yeah, no, but that's what the term strange fruit that people been using to trigger to understand that understanding. Can we say that though? Like on here? I know certain things.
I would say we shouldn't.
So, but strange fruit would be better, right? Like as
Yeah,
a
I would say we tread lightly
on that, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The AI been taking folks down. That's what happened with Diamond. So we've been trying to be, you know, uh uh but that was in your thing. I don't know. We don't know. They have this AI going through y'all and they go through videos and people been talking about. So YouTube is more about AI content they having, but we never know. They come back years later and they'll just get your channel behind something that you said. So that's why I was trying to be careful. But thank you for asking that question so other people have an understanding because you might see and you're like, where did that come from? But yeah, that's what it is. All right, everyone. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you for joining us, and we always appreciate you. And we'll see you next week. Be safe and be blessed. Bye
God
bye.
bless. Thank you guys.